So I'm going to call this update number 1, and this is going to be a video about the old bull and the young bull. And look, I'll give you the story as a nice parable, and then we're going to let it play out into what's going to happen here. So there was an old bull and a young bull walking down into the paddock, and as they're strolling down the hill, there's a herd of cows sitting out there. Anyway, the young bull turns around to the old bull and says, "Come on, old fella, let's run on down there and knock the back out of one or two of these old girls." And the old bull says to the young fella, "Steady up, young fella. Let's stroll on down there and knock the back out of the lot." Right, beautiful story, isn't it? I had a bit of a old bull, young bull scenario this week with what to start with. These other frames that I had sitting down in the paddock full of rust, and I've had a lot of things unfold. So first of all, they were taller than this roof. So I cut an initial height out of it, but that was more than anything else, just to try and pull what you might call a straight line length to get them level. Anyway, I put them up and they're still a little bit too high, so I had to make a decision based upon, well, how tall do you want it? I have reached up as tall as I can reach, and I'm going to make it about 2 meters, 20 centimeters. Look, that's all right. I mean, like, it means that's where your crossover heights are going to be at. I mean, if you've got a chin-up bar, that's where that's going to be sitting at as well. It's high enough. Like, it doesn't mean you've got to squat down. It's at a nice, reachable height. All right? Now, in regards to my old bull, young bull story, my issue was sitting upon these bits of angle line. And I sat there for 2 nights straight. Like, what am I going to do? Because I was thinking, do I weld? See how it's a bit deformed in, like it's not quite straight. Do I use those to brace it and then go from there? But like, where we're at is because they're long and I wanted to keep the length of those, because they've got the holes in them, is going to dictate how this is all going to bolt together. So the situation I had was like, wherever I choose to put these is going to dictate the actual shape of the frame itself for how it's all going to bolt together in the long run. So I sat on it, I was like, you know what? The most simple answer is this. These, I'll cut 4 of them, these here, in half, and just sit them between here and here, there and there, there and there, there and there. And all they are something to hold the integrity of the shape. But then what that allows me to do is, because then I've got a perfect square to work with, or a perfect rectangle, is make the decisions about what exercises I want to do, which is going to base how the structural integrity and the make of it's going to, unfold. So that's conundrum number 1. Conundrum number 2, my guardian angels are in on this. Don't you doubt that for a second. Like, the second I made this decision, right, as I was driving to work 3 days ago, I look on the side of the road and something catches my eye. And anyway, as I drive past that afternoon, something catches my eye. As I drive past the next morning, something catches my eye, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to pull up and check that out. Anyway, I pull up, and lo and behold, this was sitting on the side of the road. So that's free. All this steel has not costed a cent. Next, I had my pulleys turn up. And $30 or $32 for a set off eBay, but like there's no move in the bearings or anything, and they are smooth. That's fantastic. So I've got 12 of these coming. Now what I'm going to do is, with these angle lines, is, because I've got the bolt holes, the exact same as the holes, it will be something along those lines. That's how it will hold together when I choose what sort of a system that I want to put together. And what I'll do is, when these are standing up, this is what I was talking about these angle lines where the conundrum's sat, it's like these are going to either sit like that, or they might sit just centered. But either way, because this side and that side, when it's standing, are going to be the outer side where the crossover is going to sit, that angle ultimately is going to sit off this, where the crossover machine, so you'll have your 1, 2, 3, 4 pulleys will be, and that's also when we come down here when it's standing up, where the weights are going to sit to allow it to actually function as a crossover machine itself. So that's going to sit on the, this one here, you lift it up and you turn it around, that will sit on the front of it with these pulleys. And that was dictating why I was talking about this, because if I didn't get this right, I kind of would have ended up with just junk sitting out left, right and center. And what you'll also now learn is it's very hard to go from step A to step B unless you complete something, because you don't know what's going to happen next, because I'm going to call this feng shui. Everything has bottlenecks, and if you want to understand the true magic behind, how we can call it, effortless thinking in a state of surrender, what you're trying to do is, instead of organising something with the drawing board or setting goals and thinking that you could do it with your head, it doesn't matter what you try to do with your head, your heart knows. And your greatest power is in the here and now and how you deal with each moment. And I could say that I wanted to do a specific, piece of framework after I've got these welded together. But the problem is, once it's welded together and once it's up and once it's in place, my mind's going to be in a different place because a goal's been achieved. And you don't know what sits on the other side of closed doors. So these here, they may have 50 goals that you're trying to achieve, and it's what sits on the other side of the closed door which dictates what the next step is. And you don't know what that next step is until you walk through that door. So drawing boards are good, but they're just a vague idea. They are not going to be the real result. Next, so I've got these and these. These 4 lengths here, got little bolt holes again, are what will hold the frames together. These, I'm going to polish them up. They will be the weight bars. Plus, I've got these bad girls. I'm going to make some super magical, they're like hammer curl bars and 45-degree angle bars. Plus, got nice flat rod here where it's going to be engineered to precision to ensure that nothing's out of place, but also the simplicity is going to be the complexity, where unless it needs to be there, it won't be there, because one particular piece of equipment will have multiple usages. But I would be hoping that I can get a Smith machine frame in this, but also, even though these frames are here, they are going to have nothing to do with power racks. It's when these are held together, it's going to be the back part of it where I establish the frame, where I'll have the power rack to be able to do the deadlifts, the squats, and the bench press. Also, that deadlift, squat, bench press, I'll make sure to set that up so those cool handles that I develop can be held with the frame, where it's not going to interfere with your plates that sit on the bars itself. And the reason why I wanted to put the powerlifting stuff here is because you need to put a mirror behind it. So if you're going to do biceps, you have to look in the mirror. If you're going to do squats, you have to look in the mirror. Also, with the crossover machine, you need to be looking in the mirror. Like, the mirror is not about vanity, it's in order to make sure that you've got synchronicity and synergy and equilibrium with everything that you do. So as it unfolds, I had to sit for a week back to the old bull, young bull, to recognise that job number one is, first things first, is cut up these, put them here. That will then allow me to stand these things up, and it will tell its own story bit by bit. But the original step, I mean, having that bench, that's just saved a lot of time. I can't believe it's turned up as quickly as it has. But I can't tell you how many movements are going to be on it yet, but I do know this. One side will be a Smith's machine. The other side, I'm going to establish it where you'll have connection points like here, here, here. And what I'll be able to do with that is I'll have it so that you can do like, so Smith machine one side. This side, it will be so you've got handles connected to here, which allow you to do seated shoulder presses. And like also, if you want to put it down here, you can also use it for doing lat work and like you can do shrugs. Like, it's going to be interesting because I can't tell you the full scenario yet until it unfolds. But as we have update number 1, we've got a really good starting point. But the entire point to me putting this together in the first place was to help explain when you got something really important, don't rush into it. You need to sit for a week. It's like a good stew where if you rush into something, it may be the worst mistake you make that'll dictate ordinary decisions from, you know, that step on out because you thought you needed to get something done quickly. So every now and then, you got to relax. Also, I think this is going to be the biggest cat frame in the world, so I might have to put a couple of stands on it because they seem to be quite interested in it. And yeah, so it'll be a gym stroke cat jungle gym. But the objective is powerlifting, Smith machine, the capacity to do your shoulder presses and whatnot, cable crossover with the mirror, and then on the back side of these we'll start putting, for example, calf raises, possibly somewhere for ab work. Oh, obviously somewhere for ab work, but just there will be something for hamstrings, there'll be something for quads, also there will be a leg press within it. So but you don't know where they are going to go until you have it up and until you have your fundamentals in place. So there it is, old bull, young bull. Get the fundamentals right first. Be a fundamentalist. Look at what it is you have. Get the first things first right, the basics right. I recognise that my greatest basic was the structural integrity isn't quite right. If I'd stepped ahead and not given it the 4 or 5 days I needed to realise that I just needed to brace these so that I've got solid frames, it may have just ruined the entire thing from the get-go. Anyway, there's update number 1. Hope you have an awesome day. Gotcha.